You probably know the benefits of vacuum packaging. I mean, you see products in the grocery store that are vacuum packed, but did you know there's many other ways it can help your business? Corrosion resistance, space reduction, extending the shelf life of products even further when using modified atmosphere gas flush. Today I'm going to teach you a couple of those ways. I'm Greg Berguig, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at PAC Machinery, and this is our demo on vacuum packaging. There are many different types of vacuum packaging equipment, nozzle style machines, chamber style machines, and I'm going to talk about some of those that PAC Machinery manufactures. Here we have our PVG vacuum sealer, which is really an industry workhorse. It's been built for decades. There's thousands of them in the field, and it works great for vacuum packaging as well as gas flushing of products. So you take the air out, remove the atmosphere, and put a little nitrogen or nitrogen CO2 for extended shelf life. It also makes a great high quality hermetic seal, which is really important in any type of package to ensure integrity of the product. Now, if you just want to vacuum the air out for corrosion resistance, the PVG is a great way of doing that. It's got various pump sizes, Venturis, electric vacuum pumps to pull a nice tight vacuum and create a hermetic seal on thick materials. It's got biactive sealing, so the heat is being applied from the top and bottom. You can put temperature control, so you ensure that you don't have any burning of the seal elements or in the bag itself. And it creates a nice tight package, which is extremely important. Now, a lot of people come to us and say, yeah, I want to vacuum the air out of this, and then we talk to them about gas flushing, and they say, nah, I don't want to gas flush, I just want to vacuum. Well, especially with items that could be sharp or create a puncture, relaxing the bag a little bit with some nitrogen flush will give you that corrosion resistance, and it will ensure that there's no puncture of the product or minimizing any type of puncture. Important thing to consider with vacuum packaging and when you're vacuuming the air out is making sure there's no wrinkles in the seal area. So our PVG can be optionally equipped with the bag stretcher fingers. This stretches the seal, the bag prior to sealing to minimize any wrinkles and not be dependent on the operator for doing that. And you can see here in this picture the difference between a bag that has been sealed with stretcher fingers and without. Now, a common application for vacuum packaging tends to be coffee. You see more and more of it. Vacuum and nitrogen flush of fresh coffee for extended freshness and shelf life. With the PVG, you can put up to 4 nozzles on there, right? So 4 bags at once. We even have options on our PVK to go up to 6 bags at once, which really increases your output dramatically. We've got customers doing 5,000 plus cycles a shift, bags a shift, just with this, which tends to be sufficient for a lot of coffee roasting applications for sure. Now, a lot of times you don't need a large floor standing, heavy duty industrial machine. Something more like a tabletop system will work, right? Tabletop, like our PVT vacuum sealer, is great. It's typically used where space constraints are. You don't need some of the options offered on the PVG. You can vacuum the air out, and then you can also vacuum and gas flush, as I mentioned. We actually have an option for a vacuum level sensor, which is pretty neat. It's actually measuring the level of vacuum in the product or in the package to ensure no damage to delicate products. Here you see some popcorn being vacuumed and nitrogen flush. You do that a couple of times. Great for delicate products, popcorn, anything fragile, cannabis, you name it, anything that you don't want to crush prior to sealing and still get an extremely low residual oxygen level, which you can see that right here being measured, right? So really low levels, no crushing of the product, vacuum level sensor. Now if we go the other direction, step up machine, right? So I had the PVG, now I have our PVK vacuum sealer. And the PVK is larger, you got more seal pressure, you got an open area, easier to load. Here you see large surgical kits being packed. In this case, the customer wanted to vacuum all the air out, and they did that. So one, for sterilization, so they can increase their pack count when getting the product sterilized. And also, they had an issue where people would actually grab the excess bag material, and that would cause a tear or a stretch, and that was not acceptable. So they vacuumed the air out. And you can also see again here the bag stretcher fingers on there to minimize wrinkles in the sealer. Now the version of the PVK we have here is our PVK Med. So the Med means medical controls. That means everything is validatable and calibratable. All process parameters time, temperature, and pressure. And time is what you think. You're just verifying that the timer from the machine is doing what it is. Pressure, you want to make sure that you got the consistent seal pressure every time. And temperature, extremely important. A lot of people think they have temperature control on their machines, and it's really just a time setting, right? So the way that especially impulse sealing works, I just apply power to the elements, it heats up, and then after a certain period of time, it drops down. With temperature control, you can think about that as far as heating an oven to a certain temperature, right? And you're maintaining that temperature for the duration of the sealing cycle. Think like turkey on Thanksgiving, right? So temperature control, I have it at a low temperature for a longer period of time. I'm ensuring no melting or no burning of the material, and everything is melted through for a strong hermetic seal. Another area where vacuum sealers are commonly used is in hazardous classified areas. So you think about explosion-proof vacuum sealers, you think about chemicals and powders, especially pharmaceutical and things like that, where any risk of a spark or anything like that could create an explosion. And PAC has developed a full line of explosion-proof vacuum sealers for these types of locations, right? Zones and Div 1, Div 2 classes, things like that. So explosion-proof vacuum sealers are extremely important. We also have our PVK bag-in-box vacuum sealers. These are things for like bulky items that go, you think about nuts or other bulk vacuum packaging of products. Here you see our PVK bag-in-box. The head floats down so that the bag doesn't get pulled up. It creates a nice seal. You see the stretcher fingers. We vacuum the air out. You can put a little nitrogen flush and seal the bag. So we talked about nozzle style vacuum sealers. The next up is chamber style. Chamber styles, vacuum chambers. You see them a lot of times at a restaurant, like we're going to show in this video, right? Great for vacuum packaging of meat, where you want as strong of a vacuum as possible. Cheeses, items like that. Works well for marinating. These have a embedded pump in them, so it doesn't require any compressed air. They have advantages over nozzle style. Some of the disadvantages are cycle times are slower, and I need to be able to fit the bag in the entire chamber. So for larger items, that can certainly be a challenge. But we have our line of Audionvac vacuum chambers. They are used around the world in all types of food service sectors and things like that. I go from the tabletop machine, I can go to larger floor standing double chambers, either with a flatbed or a conveyor that outputs the product. Either way, to get maximum output for that. Again, very common in the meat and cheese industries and things like that. And we also have some medical customers, right? We have validatable, calibratable vacuum chambers for medical applications with more sophisticated controls that they use there. So this was an overview of vacuum packaging. I hope you guys learned a couple things, especially to help your business. And now I look forward to taking some of your questions. Thank you.